Hi, hello, welcome to a super random Chatty Get Ready with me. I literally have been standing here for the past 10 minutes trying to decide whether I want to film and what I want to film, pulling things out, putting them back. It's just chaos all around, so don't get your hopes up too much for this video. The thing is, we have a day off here. It is some sort of a Christian holiday. Don't ask me which one, I don't know. We have a day off. I always welcome a day off, so I'm going to enjoy myself tremendously. And one of the things that I really love doing on my days off is turning on the camera and coming on to chat with you. So we're doing a random makeup look today. I'm going to start off with my Urban Decay primer potion. So the idea is I want to do something very low-key, very like spring, you know, fresh, a bit on the quicker side, so to say. You know, something on the lighter side. We are going to go to the city in a little bit with my son and my husband to do, you know, just a little bit of hanging out, good old hanging out. So I figured why not just do like a fresh spring look of sorts, where I show you what I would do on a very low-key day. Also, I've got a topic to discuss with you, but I want to give you a heads up. If you're someone who does not like to talk about menstrual cycles, periods, and female hygiene supplies, then this is your moment to check out. If you are, however, someone who is interested in the topic because for whatever reason women still don't talk about it and menstruation is still very much a taboo topic everywhere, and I don't feel like it should be, I feel completely like open to talk about it, and I've had some new like epiphanies that I wanted to share with you. Let me grab my, actually, the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh tint. Not to be confused with the Water Fresh Complexion Touch, not this one, but the actual tint, the one that has like really low coverage. And in fact, it has such low coverage that in fact I like to just apply it with my fingers. So the reason we're going to have this conversation, if you have watched my videos, you will remember that a few weeks ago I shared that I was having a bit of an issue since I turned 40. And what I started noticing is that I don't have irregularity, so I'm still like clockwork when it comes to when I get my period, although post-pregnancy I have to say my period is a little bit shorter than it used to be. And like I haven't noticed major changes in terms of like pain levels or duration. Something started happening that I had never experienced before. Like, you know how usually when you get your period, the first day or two can be a bit on the heavier side, and depending on the person it can be quite heavy, it can be moderately heavy. And I have to say, for me it was so moderately heavy in the past over a decade now that I don't even use like the thickest tampons and the most absorbing pads. It was like, yeah, I have to change a few more times during the day, but really nothing dramatic. Nothing that would like get me out of my element or get me to be worried about going places if I'm going to get my period. But then, after the summer of last year, something started happening that hadn't happened to me ever before. Basically on the second day, within a few hours, I would have extremely heavy bleeding with blood clots, and I would essentially expel 90% of like my uterine lining in the scope of a few hours. Now those few hours slowly started to turn into like a whole day, and this past time was even a little bit longer than a day. Let me see what I'm doing for my concealer. You know what? Since I did Chanel, let's stick with Chanel. I'm going to take the whatchamacallit, the Sublimage concealer. And the skin tint, by the way, you can see it's a skin tint. It didn't really cover all that much, although I have to say, once it sets into the skin and like it sits for a good while, it really does provide quite a nice coverage. It really like evens out the skin, and I quite like it. But it is a skin tint, it's not going to cover all that much, if at all. But I still need a little bit of concealing underneath my eyes because I have like veins and a little bit of, you know, colors going on there that I would prefer to correct. And the color corrector, the concealer from Chanel, has a bit of like a peach tone to it, so it's actually quite nice at correcting. Anyway, so this started happening to the point where I've had a couple of accidents at work. I've started to really consider going places if I know that I'm going to get my period. Most recently I've been freaking out about a work trip that I have to go to in July, which involves sitting probably on the train or in the car with my boss for an extended period of time. And I'm telling you, I'm very open, but I don't want to make the man uncomfortable by talking to him about my menstrual cycle. So if we can avoid the topic and I can just, get through the trip without any issues, that would be optimal. But because I don't know that I can get through that trip optimally, I've been feeling really worried about it, to the point where I've been thinking that I should probably just sort of explain to him what's going on and tell him that I'm just not going on that trip. But at the same time, I actually just really want to go on that trip. Anyway. So I do like to have just a little bit of powder, something a little bit more on the natural side. I'm still, working towards retiring the Dior Skin Correct. No, this is not the Dior Skin Correct. This is the Dior, what is it called again? The Dior Backstage powder in the shade 2, and I don't know why all of a sudden I was having a stroke and couldn't remember the name of this powder. But I think today, here on camera with you, is the last time I'm going to use this powder, because I don't really know what I'm picking up anymore, how evenly distributed it is. And I just think it is time for me to say goodbye to this powder. Anyway, so I mentioned that this whole thing was happening already in my previous video. We commiserated a little bit in the comments. And, for the past decade, since I haven't really been interested in any of this, I haven't had any issues, I haven't really done much research. But what happens when something new happens to you is that you go and ask your best friend, your BFF, Google, what the hell is going on with me. So I started Googling a little bit, and I found out that I'm not even a minority when it comes to these sort of issues past the age of 40, because obviously past the age of 40, women start to go into, this premenopausal situation, the perimenopause, which can last anywhere from a few months to a few years to a whole decade. And Eastern European moms are not exactly very open when it comes to this kind of thing, so I haven't really talked at all about my mom about menopause. I recently for the first time asked her approximately when she went into menopause, because I wanted to know what I might expect for myself, and she said around 50, and she asked me why do I ask. So that gave me the impression that she's not super open to talking about it, so I don't want to push too much. Maybe when I see her in person and we just go shopping with the two of us, I will inquire a bit more if she even remembers what happened to her in her perimenopausal years. Let me quickly do my brows. I'm going to do the Too Faced Laminating Brow Wax. So I went to ask my best friend Google. I found out that I'm not even remotely alone. Women all over the world are experiencing these sort of issues. So there is, a lot of commiseration to go around. But also, I've been looking on websites, what are there physiological reasons for this? Of course, there are hormonal changes. I think most prominently changes in progesterone levels. But then what can you do about it? Obviously, you can go on the pill, you can get an IUD, but there have been also other things that are a possibility. And one of the things really struck me, because apparently I've been self-medicating without even knowing it for years now. So for years now, I always have cramps. I've always had cramps since I was a kid, and they used to be rather excruciating, but now I have this policy with myself when it comes to both menstrual cramps and headaches. As soon as I feel an inkling that I'm going to get either of those, either I take a bunch of ibuprofen or I make a combination of paracetamol and ibuprofen and I cruise along. So what's been happening is that over the past decade, as soon as I felt that I'm going to get cramps, I've immediately taken a bunch of ibuprofen. And then some months, I didn't have as much cramps anymore. Some months I had a bit more cramps. Right. For my cream bronzer today, because I'm going to go with creams on my face, I'm actually going to pull out Honey Glaze from Fenty, which was hanging out all the way in the back of my drawer, and I completely forgot about it. I'm so sorry, Fenty. So I haven't used this in years. I'm actually very curious how I feel about it. And now that, it's been some years. It has a really good scent in it because I used to be quite attached to it the summer I bought it. And then I think I've gone on holiday a couple of times with it too. Anyway, somewhere in the back of my mind, I had made this connection between months when I have a lot of pain, I tend to have less bleeding, and months when I don't have as much pain, I tend to bleed a bit more. Never, and you would think that with my sciencey background I would have put two and two together a while ago, never did it cross my mind that the consumption of ibuprofen might have something to do with it. But lo and behold, now that I've been reading about it, one of the things that you can do yourself at home is in fact to take ibuprofen to actually regulate the amount of bleeding, because apparently it somehow does something to progesterone levels. From what I understand, it's not exactly clear how. It's not really exactly clear how paracetamol and ibuprofen work to begin with as anti-inflammatories, but no matter what the case is, it turns out that consumption of ibuprofen can actually significantly decrease the amount of bleeding. So it turns out I've been self-medicating already for years without knowing it. But now that things have gotten so bad, I'm going to be a bit more strategic with that, and I'm going to experiment with actually taking a bunch of ibuprofen next time around the time that I know I'm going to get my period. And I usually do anyway, because I get headaches, I get cramps, but this time I'm actually going to be a bit more conscious of it to really see whether there's a connection between the two. I'm going to continue on with one of my new cream blushes from Pat McGrath Labs. I actually think Peach Lotus would be perfect for this look, but I really want to go with Alluring Nude because I've only ever used it a handful of times and I think it is such a glorious blush shade. So, because I've been having all of these issues and I've been reading and I've also been thinking how to potentially solve my issue of not being able to leave the house, because that's pretty, incapacitating, I've also been talking to friends. And something that I've been thinking about already for years, because I've wanted to become more sustainable with that. I've wanted to ditch the tampons and the pads already for years. I know that period, underwear has been around for a couple of years, but because I hadn't really talked to anyone in my direct vicinity who was using them successfully, I hadn't really done much research. I didn't really know which brands to go for. I didn't really know anything because they're also rather expensive, and it's not something that I would, just purchase lightly and then it turns out that it was a waste of my money. I really wanted to have someone in my vicinity who has used them and who could vouch that they work quite well. A friend of mine, we recently talked about it, turns out she's been using this brand, Snugs, for the last couple of years, and she said that even on her heavier flow days, she's had no issues with that. The brand is completely unaware of the fact that I'm talking about them, so please don't take this as any sort of PR or marketing. They are totally unaware of my existence. I just wanted to share my experience in case you've been thinking about it and you've been wondering whether or not to take the plunge. Now I don't know whether that's new, but now they have underwear that's meant for extremely heavy periods, and I bought 3 pairs of that underwear, and luckily I was able to test it at home on my own territory without having to worry about, making a crime scene at work. Grabbing my favorite cream highlighter, which is this one from Victoria Beckham in the shade Pearl. And I am going to apply that with my little Real Techniques sponge over here, my favorite method of application of this product. So I bought them and I can tell you they actually work quite well. On the day when I had it the worst, I did have to change after about 5 hours, which is really not bad considering that when I'm wearing a combination of a tampon and a pad, sometimes within half an hour I already have to change. So for the underwear to last a full 5 hours, it was rather impressive. I just wanted to get an idea of, okay, if I go to work like this, how many pairs of extra underwear should I take with me? And I feel like maybe 1 will be more than enough. And then I had to change again in the evening. Unfortunately, since I had just received them, just washed them and all, I didn't have enough of the undies to cover me also for the night, and the night was pretty dramatic. I had to change a couple of times, but anyway, I just wanted to say that the Snugs for extremely heavy flow worked really well for me. The sizing I find a little bit strange because I ordered a size M, which just about fits me, so I feel like they run a little bit smaller, maybe because they also want to make sure that it's quite tight around you. I took the classic shape of them, which feel, rather comfortable, and you feel rather well protected. Now, when you have a very heavy flow, they absorb quite well, but it's not like you're not going to feel, any sort of wetness there. Excuse me, I know this is getting into really disgusting territory, but like I said, I'm really open about it. I just want to give you the real experience with these so that you know what to expect if you're going to get them, because I went on the website to read the reviews, and something that I highly recommend as a strategy when you're going to go and read reviews, excuse me, I just want to grab my Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte Tilbury. Don't go and read the reviews that give the highest rating. Go and read the 1, 2 and 3 stars. Get the scoop of what are people disliking about this product. What is the reason that people dislike this product? Because that will give you a pretty good idea of not only the benefits of the product, but also the weaker, the weaker links. And sometimes people say really bullshit things. Sometimes you can clearly tell that idiots didn't read properly the instructions and weren't using the product properly. But sometimes there will be, legit reasoning there as to why someone dislikes it, and it's important to know that as well. Now, the bigger thing that I gathered from reading all of these reviews, I'm going to quickly zoom you in now so that we can get started on the eye look, by the way. I'm going to grab my beautiful quad here from Prada, and I'm going to do a very, very simple look, okay? I'm just going to put this shade all over my lid as a one and done, and then I'm going to layer this one over top because I love the combination of the two. This metallic shade here is just so pretty. It has such a beautiful, like, goldy champagne beige tone. I am obsessed with it, and I'm going to use it on this beautiful Sonia G brush from the Sunset Grains collection. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I think what I gather from the negative reviews that I read on the period underwear is that sometimes people expect that it will, do miracles for them. Like, you can't expect that if you have an extremely heavy flow, you're going to put these on and you're going to forget about it. No, you still have to be conscious. You still have to know within what kind of limitations you are working with. So I would highly recommend knowing your body and knowing how things work for your body to go get these, test them out to see within what kind of limitations you are working with, so that you know what to expect, so that you know, okay, on some days maybe I have to add an extra tampon, or I have to take with me several pairs of the underwear, so that I can really make sure that I'm not going to have a bleeding accident. But I feel like you can also tell at which point they're starting to give out, so that you know it's time to change them. So overall, I've been pretty impressed by them so far. And I really like the idea that it's so easy, to stop using pads and tampons, because essentially you can wash them off either in the sink or in the shower. I've been doing it in the shower because it just seems like the most straightforward way. There's already so much water flowing, I might as well just leave them around so that they get washed off really well. And then you can just wash them together with your regular clothes. You don't have to put them in a separate wash or anything. And then you're good to go. They dry relatively fast, and then you can use them again, basically. And I had 3 pairs, like I said. I ordered an extra 3 pairs of the underwear that's for like really heavy periods, and I also ordered a few for like the lighter days. And my plan now is to completely switch to using those instead of pads and tampons. Hey liefje! Hey mannetje! Heb je lekker gespeeld?
Ik ging zo snel, was papa nog ergens anders. Ik was heel ver.
Jij was heel ver?
Ja, ik ging heel snel.
Met de fiets of rennen?
Fiets.
Met de fiets? Was je met de fiets?
Ik ging zo.
Goed zo, mannetje. Obviously, I'm not sure what kind of brands are available around the world. Snuggs is available in Europe because I purchased my underwear from their European website. The more pairs you buy, the more discount you get. If you buy 3, you get 15% off. If you buy 6, you get 25% off. They're not cheap. The extra heavy ones are, I want to say, somewhere in the range of 44 euros. And the lighter, the underwear for lighter days is 38-ish, something in that range. They're not much cheaper. And they also have swimwear, which is also only for the lighter days. They're not like super heavily absorbent, but if you're towards the end and you want to go to the beach or to the pool, they have options for that as well. I'm going to take just the absolute tiniest bit of glitter glue to apply in my inner corner and very lightly onto my lids before I apply the metallic shade. So those were the experiences that I wanted to share with you as a little update. By the way, I am still planning on calling my GP to consult with them just to see what they think, if possibly there is some sort of a physiological reason that can be helped, by, surgical means or whatever other means. I would like to hear what those options are. So I'm still going to talk to them because for now I was just gathering information on what exactly am I dealing with here. By the way, I'm going to now go back to the quad and take this beautiful, beautiful shade on my Sonia G Builder Pro brush. I actually think I might go in a little bit just with my thing. Oh no, that's not necessary. It's applying super well with this brush. Anyway, so I'm just going to make it clear that I will also call my GP to inquire with them what exactly my options are. Knowing Dutch GPs, I think they're going to blow me off and say that I just have to like suck it up. But hey, you never know. So if I hear something useful from them, I will also report. But I feel like for now, those were some, you know, interesting, important experiences for me to share with you. I'm curious whether this was in any way, shape or form useful to you. And if you have any additional, you know, wisdom to share with the rest of us, please do. I am always delighted to have open conversations about the femaleness. Alright, mascara is on. I also have a little bit of Burnt Umber, the seamless glide pencil from Lisa Eldridge here in my waterline to complement the rest of the look and to, you know, sort of like make it a bit more cohesive and completed. And we can do the lips together. Like I said, keeping it very low-key today. I'm not even going to use like a full-on opaque lipstick. I'm going to go for the this one here from Gucci. This is one of their, I don't actually know how these are called, but the lipstick that comes in this floral packaging is more or less like a tinted lip balm. They're not very like highly pigmented. They have a good amount of pigment, but they're more like the tinted lip balm side of things. But I am first going to line my lips using a ribbon from Lisa Eldridge because Edie Scarlet, the shade that I'm going to use from Gucci, I forgot to mention, is a red. So this is the final look. You can see that the lipstick has, you know, obviously a sheerness to it, but it is also quite buildable. I like that it has a bit of a shine to it, but without being overly shiny, which would mean that it's going to like slip and slide a lot. I quite enjoy this formula from Gucci. I've actually enjoyed pretty much all the 3 formulas that I've tried from them so far. Do let me know what you thought about this look. I actually really like how fresh and glowy it turned out. This is exactly my idea of a fresh spring look, something that is a little bit more, you know, on the glowy and fresh side. I know it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. If you have more oily skin, you're probably not going to enjoy this. I hope that talk of perimenopause didn't make you feel uncomfortable. Au contraire, I hope that, you know, by talking about it, we're all going to feel a lot more comfortable discussing the topic, and it will be, you know, much less embarrassing and much less taboo than it is now, because it really annoys me that half the population on this earth needs to deal with this, but we're still, you know, all shush shush and hush hush about it. I think we shouldn't be anymore. It's the 21st century. Let's be open-minded. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say for today. Please share your thoughts in the comments. As usual, I can't wait to chat with you there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!